You're human. You do it incorrectly, and you go into a losing trade, and then you try to get it back, and it's another losing trade. You have to stop or know that you can come out of it. And that's why I tell them 1.5% is your maximum, because that 1.5%, you should now know you've made $544 today. Think about that now. If you can make that, that means you can risk that. You got to be able to go out there and find, like, algorithm and high frequency trading developers. They go out there and they look for a trade. It may be $100, it may not be $250. But what they're doing is they're looking for something that they specialize in, that algorithm will go in and monetize a fluctuation based on this repeating phenomenon that happens all day long. And that same little tiny little piece, one little bite of price action throughout the day, done hundreds of times, thousands of transactions a day. They're pulling out money that you can't even fathom, because they're taking something with a cookie cutter approach, something that they can repeat over and over and over again. Every single one of the PD arrays that I've taught you are just like that. That's what high frequency trading algorithms that people that have learned from me, they have used these things now. They can go out and find them on any time frame. That's why I went down into the sub 1 minute charts to tell you that this stuff is in there all day long. All day long. Oh, this is a shitty market. It's not moving around. It's in chop. We're in some real chop. The chop's real, man. The chop's real. No. Slicing and dicing on a sub 1 minute chart. There's still breakers and all that chop. There's still institutional order flows in all that chop on a sub 1 minute chart. You have to know where it's going to go. Even in a small little choppy range, if you want to call it that, you can anticipate what pool of liquidity it's going to go in that 1 hour. I can trade in an individual 60-minute range and beat everybody's asses on social media. And I said that, yes. That's not arrogance. That's just the facts. Because I understand what price is going to do. I understand how I can mess it up. And I can wait for those perfect instances where everything makes perfect sense to engage right then and there. And I know the times that hurt me. I know when it could look like there's an opportunity and it's really not there. Experience is going to dictate that. And I taught him today that there's going to be a lot of lessons that you're going to learn that are not going to be in my video. They're not going to be in our discussions. It's going to be what you have discovered about yourself. And you're going to find that you're going to excel in certain instances. Something just really revs you up. You see this opportunity. It makes so much sense to you. And you're not demanding it pays more than it would any other time. It's just a profitable opportunity. And you may not have the equity to do 100 contracts at the time when you start doing it. Start with one and you build up. And when you make enough equity to be able to do two comfortably and not go over 1.5% risk, then and only then do you do it. But every single trade that you make and put on, it's never to be taken where you can't at least get that same trade paid out to you at least 2 or 3 times in the same day. And I'll say that again in layman's terms for the folks that don't really understand or appreciate what I just said. 1.5% of your equity. If you can't find a trade 2 or 3 times intraday with that yield on individual basis 2 or 3 times, you have no business taking that risk on. Think about it. Because what you're doing is you're demanding that you find a needle in a haystack. In your limited understanding of the marketplace, in your limited experience doing it, in the most difficult market conditions I have ever been in, you, you're going to be the person that can just go out there and walk out there and do that. I'm sorry, but you won't. You won't be. So don't put yourself through it and discourage yourself through failure. Make allowances for yourself to spend a little bit more time learning how to do it. Do it the right way. So that way you enjoy the process. It should not be a, a draining effort for you to want to do this. And some of you, the way you talk in your tweets, it seems like somebody's twisting your arm, and it ain't me. If you're not having fun doing this, it's not for you, or you're grossly doing it incorrectly. Making money is the end result of you doing things, learning how to do it, and having fun having done it, but not being on an emotional high that you have to have a win all the time, or that you're chasing it like a high. And the only way you feel that or understand and appreciate it is when you lose real money. The people that lose real money know exactly what I just said, and it resonates with them. But if you've only been in demo, you don't even want, you haven't even came to the dance yet. You're a spectator, not a speculator. And as soon as you put risk on the line, it all changes. So you have to have some measure of experience that you didn't just get last week watching a 5-minute trainer, the cliff notes of something that took 30 years to be placed in your hands now. There's a lot of things that you're going to learn about yourself, and you're going to laugh when you look back at how you thought you were ready to trade when you were not. You were not. I know I wasn't. There's no shame in admitting it. There's no shame in it. But right now, you would never do that because it sounds like you're not smart enough. That would be like admitting weakness. And that's exactly what my son's struggling with right now. See, he's at the peak of his testosterone. He's he's at the height of his strength, his muscularity. He's in his mind at his present age, he's at the peak. And young men, you know what it was like when you were a teenager. You thought you could jump over buildings and nobody could kick your ass. You were the best looking person in the world. Every woman wants to be with you. Unrealistic viewpoints of yourself. And see, he did damage to himself. He did damage. And he bragged to his friends. He bragged to his girlfriend that he was going to do this and he was going to do that. And he couldn't do it. Now he has that. He's wrestling with that. And now because he didn't do it successfully, like he walked out and thought he was going to be able to do it, he's doubting. And doubt in a hurt, bruised pride in a man, that's dangerous. It'll make you do stupid shit. It'll make you do dumb stuff. So most of today, it was me just cleaning those wounds, reminding him that that's normal. Dad went through that. I did all that stuff. I did all that stuff and worse. And there was nobody here telling me this is how you fix it. So I was trying to find my way through it all and making it longer than it has to be. And it's painful. So when I talk to you and I make these conversations available to you, it's for your edification. It's so that you don't go through it like I did. So that way you can avoid it and appreciate that. You know what? I don't want to make those mistakes. I'm glad ICT went through it. I'm sorry he went through it, but I'm glad he went through it and he's telling me how I don't have to go through that. That's the wisdom in the student that's listening to me. Not this guy talks and he likes to hear himself talk. No, I don't give a fuck if that's how you think. Get the fuck out of here. You're not somebody that wants to learn. You're a clown. You will be broke. You will be working the rest of your fucking life. You will not be able to be profitable as a trader. So just get the fucking stepping. The people that really want to be here and make themselves a profitable student that trades and earns their own money, they want to know how they're possibly going to mess it up. And I'm not going to talk to you always in a refined manner. I'm live. I don't have a filter right now. So I'm going to feel the impulses and the emotional charge that I remember going through. It's all real stuff for me. I went through this stuff and it was painful. And it's painful to remember what it was like for me. And I know that some of you are going through it right now. And it's normal. And you can get through it. You can grow out of it. Use it like rocket fuel. It'll be the deterrent to never doing those same things again because you know what it's done to you. You don't want to relive that. You have now a reason to appreciate the rattlesnake that those circumstances provide. You know, walking into that situation again, it's like a rattlesnake's tail just shaking. You don't need to go back in there again. You know what it's like. So avoid it. Don't try to push and make money in those situations. Just relax. Take the day off, take the session off. Don't do it. But ICT, I'm supposed to be an everyday trader. Who the hell said that? It wasn't me. So having a very, very low expectation of yourself. Yes, 5 handles is a wonderful target, realistic target. In the beginning, if you're absolutely scared to death, if you're scared to death of taking trades and you don't want to get into a trade because you're just afraid to do it, feel what it's like to desensitize yourself to go in and execute and put a limit order on 1 handle. Put a trade on. If it runs up 1 handle, it will close the trade out, and that's 1 handle. It's $50. It's not a lot of money. And if you do this over and over and over again with a demo account, you will get over the fear of entering. Then you add one more handle to it. Put on an entry, reach for 2. And you'll see, even with static price action, if you know where the market's likely to go, doesn't mean you're right. This means that this is the next draw on liquidity. This is where the obvious equal highs are. This is where they haven't been all day. Let's aim in that direction. And then put a trade on and try to go for 1 handle. And do that all day long, working with a 1-minute chart. It's not about how much drawdown you have. Don't worry about that, because if you're trying to measure that, you need to get into the pushing of the button and just looking for a small transaction. That's it. Over time, by gradually working into one more handle, up to 5, you'll completely desensitize yourself to the outcome. It won't matter to you because you've done it so many times, you're bored by it. You don't care. But think about what you're doing with your demo account right now. Think about what you're doing with your combine challenges. You're gambling. You're literally gambling. The whole time you're doing it, you're scared. You're anxious. You're hoping and praying you can get that certificate that says you're funded because you can't wait to go on social media and show it. But you're never going to show anything after that. Because chances are you probably will blow it when you get to the funded level. Nobody will see your payouts, certificates or confirmations, but you did something. You showed the world that you got funded. You passed the combine. I don't want any of my students thinking that's a success story. That's not. That's just, okay, you showed up to the dance. Now dance. All these certificates, they're wonderful little hurdles for you to get across in the beginning. I'm not trying to minimize that. If you've never done it, wonderful. That's where you're going to go. But you have to have some kind of vision beyond that. What are you going to do once you are funded? Because chances are you're not really responsible. You're not organized. Unless you're thinking like I'm trying to suggest to you in my teachings and lectures and here tonight. You have to have some measure of controlling yourself and thinking about things correctly. Don't just go in impulsively try to execute. My son, my own DNA, flesh and blood, there was no magic because he came from the fruit of my loins. Okay. There was no mystical, magical powers transferred to him. He did like anybody else would. Do the wrong shit. Well, here's your results. Impulsively tried to do something he wasn't ready to do. And now he has the mental baggage from it that I told him, and I tell all of you how you can avoid all that. So now he has to wrestle through all of that pride, that bruised ego, and concerned about what if he doesn't really still learn how to do it. You have no idea the impact that has on a person, especially a male. We are performance oriented, from sexuality to physical appearance to workplace, sports. We are all about measuring. It's all it is. It's measuring. And ladies don't think that way. And that's why they're better traders.